Hi guys, welcome to another vlog for the month of March, and of course, first and foremost is Shenmue. A new update went up yesterday, another real short one, less than 2 minutes. I'll put the link in the description for you to see the whole thing. Not a lot to really show in here as far as imagery. It was just kind of a look at a typical workday and seeing a bit of the work environment, and it was really cool. It was nice to see that it seems like a relaxed work environment, very kind of like happy people that really enjoy what they're doing, and sometimes you can actually end up being more productive in that environment than just a workhorse environment, and it just seems very happy and everyone seems to really love what they're doing, and that kind of passion I think is going to transfer into a fantastic game because you have that. It can make a better experience even without the mega budget and major studio behind it. It's something where I saw a couple people complaining in the comments section about the graphics and the animations, and those aren't done yet. They even say within the description and talking about the video that the character animations aren't quite finished yet. A lot of the environments are probably a lot closer to being finished at this point. They're still kind of tweaking it, but right now it still looks great. And to be honest, if one thing you're looking for is for Shenmue III to be a technological powerhouse, a big game to graphically compare it to, say, Horizon Zero Dawn, that type of stuff, you're in the wrong space. That's not what it is. Shenmue 1 and 2 were graphical powerhouses when they came out. They were something that was showing advancement in technology. They were kind of a showboat title that you could put in and show people and be like, holy crap, look at this, especially on the Dreamcast. That's not really what it is anymore. And it's not really, I think, what it should be. It should stay a little bit closer to just feeling like the gap wasn't so long between 2 and 3. Something that looks modern but doesn't feel out of place with the first two on the Dreamcast. And I think they're kind of getting that look right so far, and that's really hard to do. So it looks amazing so far. The things that really stood out to me, besides just seeing the cool work environment, were little sneak peeks at a journal, which looks like right out of Shenmue 2, just with like maybe a little more detail to it, hints at what the arcade is going to look like within there, and the QT test play. So the QuickTime event, it looked really cool, and just the way it flashed on screen, just the pacing of it and the sound effects and everything, it looked straight from the Dreamcast, just with the occasional, like an X button, the PlayStation button showing up. So like, it really looks like it's going to tie in visually so well, the movement from 1 and 2 to 3, and it's going to be even more incredible when we get the, hopefully finally, like, goddamn it, Sega, give us, the HD collection, just an HD, kind of a little bit updated version of 1 and 2 will make that gap seem even closer, and it's just going to be like one whole experience. So that looked amazing. Again, link in the description for that. Real short video again. I really hope we get like a big trailer or something to put out there, because I want to promote the hell out of this, but lately, just within the past year really, there hasn't been a lot that I know is going to catch people that aren't already Shenmue fans' attention. So I want something big and showy, or something to give a little bit more of a hint of what definitively the storyline is going to be within a video that I can show people and get more excited about it. And I don't know, I'm waiting for that big thing to come up. The other thing I want to talk about, we had a big snow day here. I don't know if you're within the right region. It hit a lot of the country, but if you're in especially the northeast of the US, you got hit with a big snowstorm. I had a snow day at home with the wife, stuck indoors, didn't go anywhere, and had a little bit extra time on my hands, thankfully. Because of that, I got some stuff done around the house, and spent about half that day finishing playing Tomb Raider, the 2013 reboot game, for the first time. I resisted playing this for a while because I've been a huge fan of Tomb Raider since, what was it, 95, 96? First one, playing on the PlayStation and the PC, and I have almost every Tomb Raider game in almost every form. They released Legend on just about everything. I don't know what the heck is with Legend and Underworld. They're on freaking everything. I have so many copies of those games. But always been a huge Tomb Raider fan. I was a little iffy when Crystal Dynamics took over and they came out with Legend and Underworld and Anniversary, but they ended up being great. I really loved them. Anniversary is actually one of my favorites. I think it's a wonderful remake of the first game. But then seeing that the last Legacy of Kain game, what was it, Dark Sun, something along those lines, was cancelled, and Square Enix came in and now owns Crystal Dynamics, and they were pretty much shoving reboot Tomb Raider down their throats, and I didn't like the look of it, I didn't like the feel, and so I resisted playing it, but I was able to get it at GameStop. They had a buy two get one free, and I almost never go into GameStop, but we said, alright, buy two get one free, maybe. It took us 3 game stops to find 3 games, though. Like, we didn't get any at the second 2 we went to, only at the first one, because everything there is just crap, or like overpriced to begin with. So, anyway, this is one of 3 we actually got, and I'm like, alright, well, it's basically free, I'll give it a shot. I liked and disliked it. It's one of those things where if I would do like an objective review of it, I would give it a much better score than the level that I actually liked it. I enjoyed a lot of the puzzle solving, the slightly more open world feel, even though it was very, very linear and constantly pushing you forward the whole time. I did like some of the puzzles and the environments. I really enjoyed that. But a couple things I didn't like. I liked the storyline, but I didn't quite like the way it was presented. I don't think they got into quite enough archaeological detail, aside from I love finding the artifacts and looking at them and finding a little bit of history and journal entries and things like that, but it just wasn't quite enough to get me quite into the history of the island and the story. And I was iffy on the approach with Lara Croft, a totally different take on the character for sure. I mean, and I knew that going in, and again, it's one of those things where I like and dislike. I like the portrayal, I thought it was done fairly well, on a very different beginning to the character, but at the same time, coming from someone who's known and loved that series for 2 decades before playing this, it's just very different, and I don't know, I'd feel very detached from it in a way. And one thing that really bogged the game down for me, and I really, really disliked, was the heavy, heavy gunplay. I mean, gunplay's always been an important element of Tomb Raider. There's always been, a lot of the shooting sections, and but this became obsessive in points. Just when you're at like the shanty town and things like that, and it felt more like I was playing Halo than I was playing Tomb Raider at points, and I just really, really disliked that. And occasionally, it made sense towards the very, very end of the game. Some of the over-the-top, like intense fighting, that was great, but it had less of an impact because at that point I was just tired of it. I was so tired of all the run and gun gameplay. It was way too much focused on that, and some overused elements, things with shooting the rope arrow and then getting the pulley later on and stuff like that. I liked all those elements, but it was way too much. Using that is fascinating, cool, and a cool way to move around the environment the first couple times, but when you do it 40, 50, 60 times, I don't know, it's like, it feels like a little bit too much. But yeah, the gunplay, as soon as about the point where I hit like the shanty town, like that point was where I started being like, alright, from that point on, the game was kind of like half, I'm really annoyed with this game, half, but I really like this part, and it just kind of went back and forth the whole time. So overall, it's a fantastic game. Whether you're new to the series or you're a longtime fan, it's a good game worth checking out. If you haven't played it like me, you waited a while. But overall, it's easily my least favorite Tomb Raider game, just because it feels so different, and the elements that I disliked about it, to me, had a stronger influence on my opinion of the game than the elements that I did like. The elements that I did like were moments where it did feel cool, like it did feel like Tomb Raider, and again, it's one of those things where not a bad game by any means, it's just a difference of what I really liked about the old Tomb Raider series I felt was kind of missing. It's not my Tomb Raider anymore, it's a Tomb Raider for, to say, a new generation in a way. So it's a good game, just not my Tomb Raider. The only other thing I've been really playing lately, after Tomb Raider, I'm not sure where I'm going to start next, probably another 360 game, because I really haven't touched that backlog very much for that console. Not, Xbox is not one of my favorites. But I have been kind of playing Xenoblade Chronicles again for like the 4th time. But it's one of those things where, because I know it like the back of my hand, probably better than the back of my head at this point. I played it so much. It's something where when I'm kind of tired at the end of a long day, and I want to play something, I'm too tired to really focus on reading. But I want something to be a little more interactive than watching a movie, that type of thing. I've been slowly playing my way through Xenoblade Chronicles, probably going to be a 200-hour playthrough, just because of taking my time, trying to kind of do everything, and relaxing, looking at the thunderstorms sitting there, and just different types of things. Just, it's a relaxing playthrough for me. So that's the other thing I've been doing, just replaying Xenoblade, just one of those things that just a way to pass the time, something I can never get tired of. So that's kind of really what I've been playing. As far as reading, I just finished reading a recent pickup, Groucho Marx, Memoirs of a Mangy Lover, and this was really funny. I think you really have to be a Groucho fan to really enjoy it, though. I think you have to kind of be familiar with him and his comedy, but really, really interesting, not as insightful as I would have liked. I mean, it was more, I don't want to say it was more jokey than I wanted to, because obviously it's Groucho Marx is going to be, but it was just kind of, in many ways, didn't give me any more of an insight into him than I ever have, and I hadn't really read anything. I've seen probably everything he's ever done, as far as like movies and TV and things like that, but I haven't really read anything about him, and I was hoping to get a little more insight in that, but it was enjoyable, pretty good. Probably the next thing I'm going to tackle is when he picked up at the same time all the MASH books from that last pickups video. I'm probably going to start plowing through these because they'll be fairly short, easy reads, I think. So, and just kind of enjoyable, and that's what I've been doing lately. I haven't been really playing or reading anything super heavy and involved. I just haven't been in that type of mood recently. I don't know, just been so busy in so many different directions at once that every once in a while I just kind of like need to quietly relax and read something that's just kind of entertaining, but isn't completely devoid of any value, and play something relaxing like replaying Xenoblade that I played so many times. That's kind of really the only thing that's been up with me recently. Haven't really been to see movies at all. A lot of people have asked me about Ghost in the Shell. A lot of my friends know I'm a big fan of the whole thing, the original movie, the manga, the Ghost in the Shell 2, everything, all the different series, but I'm curious about it, and it's interesting because I don't have as much of a problem with the whitewashing issue that surrounds this movie. Isn't actually the main reason why I don't want to see it in theaters. It's more of just I don't really like the tone of it, just from what I've seen in previews, and just hearing that the director thought that the original film was too philosophical. What does that mean? Like, so what? It just gives me this feeling that it's going to be a very Hollywood, very kind of surface feature. The look looks pretty good as far as transferring it to a live-action form. It doesn't look terrible. So visually, I still have a curiosity just because I love Ghost in the Shell, but it's definitely going to be more of like a Netflix thing for me. So avoided that in theaters. We will be seeing Beauty and the Beast, definitely. Not opening weekend. I don't think it's gonna, time-wise, gonna work out, but hopefully soon, because I mean, amazing movie. My wife's favorite Disney movie, the original. One of my top 3 favorite Disney movies. So this is great, and Emma Watson. Always had a thing for Emma Watson, so got to see that. And it looks like they're doing a good job. I wasn't interested in any way in the live-action Pete's Dragon that they did, or the Jungle Book, and it looked just this, I don't know, bizarre CGI fest that lost the magic of those old movies. This, I think, is a little more CGI heavy than I'd like, but at the same time, I think it is going to maintain the feel and the look of the original animated feature more than some of those live-action ones. So I'm really curious, and Emma Watson's already plus, so that's good. So we're definitely going to see that. It looks good. I'm very curious to see that. Not a whole lot else coming out in theaters that we're going to see. I don't know if you guys heard about more than likely there is going to be possibly a Matrix reboot. That's another one that, I mean, obviously we're in a period now where remakes and reboots have been going crazy. I mean, more than any time else. There's always been remakes and reboots. I think some people forget that sometimes, that you'll see a lot of 20s and 30s movies got remade in the 50s and 60s and 70s. But it's been just crazy out of control now. And that's one that I just, no. To different degrees, some of them I disagree with just personally, and other ones it's like, why the hell would you do that? And this is one of those, why the hell would you do that things to me? Because The Matrix, the first movie, I think a lot of the success, and I think why I really loved it back then, I'll talk about that, I don't really like quite as much now. It was very much a film in its time. It had a very cool, sleek look that has just been, the Matrix look has been dug into the ground now, and is something that is no longer just this fascinating, interesting piece. I mean, to begin with, a lot of the ideas and that it took from other things and formed into the movie, there was very little original about the first Matrix, but it presented it in a really cool package, and it was really like just fascinating action piece, and I really liked it, and it was one of the first cool things to own on DVD, and it was the first big bestseller on DVD, and I got that on DVD. I think it was the second one I ever got after Rush Hour. It was just very much a thing in its time, and a very iconic movie, whether you like it or not. But I don't think that's going to transfer well unless you do something totally different, and then you're not really doing The Matrix anymore. I just don't think it's something that that holds up in the same way. I think it's very much a movie of its time, and I think that's part of why the second and third movie just were kind of okay. I mean, the Animatrix I liked better, those compilations of little things, than the second and third movie, but overall, that's a weird one. I don't really see how that's going to work out very well. I mean, better than the crap Jumanji thing that's going to... Oh, that looks awful. If they actually are going to go through Big Trouble in Little China remaking that, I don't know if anyone's heard any more about that. I haven't heard anything besides, The Rock might be in it, that type of thing. That's going to be awful. The only other thing coming out this year that I really have an interest in is Blade Runner 2, which... That's one of those ones where I'm kind of iffy about them doing a sequel. But I'm enough of a huge fan that I can't not see that in theaters. I can't not see Blade Runner 2. But yeah, just a lot of stuff we haven't... I used to go to theaters all the time. In high school, I used to go to the movie theaters all summer. I used to go, my friend Patrick would, before we could drive, one of either my parents or his parents, usually his dad, would drop us off, and we would just go to 4 or 5 movies sometimes, and go to a pizza place that was right nearby, and it was just what I did. I loved going to the movies, but lately it's just been the occasional thing 2 or 3 times a year. I just haven't been as interested. It's been kind of odd. It's just too many really bad rehashes of stuff that doesn't need to be revisited. So yeah, this was a long one here. It just had a lot of random stuff to talk about. A lot of things going on that I wanted to put together in one video, but let me know if you guys are enjoying these. I've been thinking about doing more consistent vlog type stuff, just kind of maybe twice a month at most, depending what's going on, maybe only once a month. But just little things that I don't think really need their own video, but I would kind of like to talk with you guys about and hear a little bit more about what's going on in your lives and what you think about some of these topics. So I kind of like that idea of doing that type of thing. Let me know below if you like that idea, or if you think, forget it, just shut up, I don't want to listen to your stupid vlog videos. But yeah, anyway, I will see you guys in the next video, and if you're watching this as this is coming out, be sure to check back in less than 24 hours for the second of the weekly Laser Talk videos. I'll be talking about a couple movies I've watched recently, trying to stick with the idea of movies for a little while that I'm seeing for the first time on Laserdisc. I think it's kind of cool until I start running out of those. But yeah, to do that, and eventually later in the month I'm going to have my wife come up in one, and my brother too. He's going to be here tomorrow. If you're watching this as far as when it's being uploaded, tomorrow my brother's going to be coming over. Get to see him before he goes back to school at the end of spring break, so that'll be cool. And yeah, that's about it. That's what's up with me lately, so I'll talk to you guys later.